Book Lounge by Libby, where we gather round for bookish conversations with authors, narrators, and readers who make stories shine. I'm your host, Joe, and today we're wrapping up season 2 with a little literary cheer. In this episode, we're celebrating reads for the holidays. Whether you love snow-dusted small towns, family reunions that go hilariously wrong, or cozy mysteries by the fire, we've got something for every kind of reader this season. Now, in our first segment, I'm joined by 4 amazing authors who've mastered the art of the holiday story: Jananie Bayliss, Maisha Oso, Matthew Norman, and Alexandra Benedict. We'll talk about how they found their way into this cozy niche, favorite tropes they can't resist, their own holiday traditions, and what's next for each of them. And yes, we'll end with a festive lightning round that's bound to bring the holiday spirit. Then, in segment 2, our guest hosts will share their favorite winter holiday reads, perfect for curling up with all season long. Now, since this is the final episode of season 2, just season 2, we'll be back soon. I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's joined us on this journey this year. Don't worry, we've got plenty of bonus content coming your way through the end of December, and I'll be back with monthly episodes starting in January. So we'll go into that 1 to 3 episodes per month, and we'll officially kick off season 3 in April. Trust me, it's going to be worth the wait. So now grab your favorite blanket, pour something warm in your mug, and let's get cozy because it's time for holiday reads. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Of course, I am joined by Maisha, Alexandra, Jenny, and Matthew. Welcome. How's everyone doing?
Yeah, doing great. Are you
Good,
kidding?
thank you.
Oh, awesome. I'm happy to have you all here, and I'm happy to get cozy for the holidays. I mean, when we're recording, it's still pretty early in November, so I feel over-decorated and overdressed, but I'm glad that
Never.
I'm not alone. See, everyone was ready. We've got cozy holiday sweaters, we've got reindeer horns, we've got, the Griswold family reppin'. We're here, we're ready. And if you want to see all of that, make sure you're watching on the Libby app YouTube channel. They're the only podcast or plug I have to do. Before we dive in, I'd love for everyone to take a moment, say who they are, and give a book that you're loving, that you wrote, that you want to promote right now. I'm gonna let the alphabet be my guide. Alexandra, I'm coming to you first.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alexandra Benedict, and I write, among other things, Christmas mysteries. And my latest that is out in the US is The Christmas Jigsaw Murders.
How can you not love a title like that? Who doesn't love some Christmas murder? Now I'm testing myself by letting the alphabet guide me, but Jenny, I know J comes before M.
Hi, I'm Jananie Bayliss. I write rom-coms. I sometimes write for children too, but under a different name. And my latest book that's just come out is I'll Be Home for Christmas.
Love it. So cozy. Maisha, how about you?
Hi, everyone. My name is Maisha Oso. I'm a kid lit author, and my latest book that just came out is It's Almost Time for Christmas.
So fun. What a great cover. And then Matthew.
Hey, everybody. My name is Matthew Norman. This is my 6th novel, Grace and Henry's Holiday Movie Marathon, and it is my first and only holiday book. So I'm new to this whole thing.
First and only. You're already sticking to the one and only?
We'll never say never. We'll see. We'll see. You never know.
It gets you. It won't let you go.
That's right.
Right. You never know what's going to happen. The fans are going to want more. You're going to become addicted. You never know. Well, let's start with some festive beginnings. How did each of you find your way into writing holiday stories? Was this a planned creative path, or did the holidays kind of sneak into your writing over time, get their claws into you? Whoever wants to jump in first can.
Well, I think since I went last with the intros, I'll just kind of, my first and only comment, I did not by any means to make that sound negative, but
No.
it was for me, it was just a total accident. I had written just a bunch of books that take place not at the holidays, right? And I had this story about 2 people who had lost their spouses, and that was where I started. And I was trying to imagine what would be a difficult time for them, because they had both lost their spouses right around the same time. And I was like, oh, well, obviously the first holidays without their respective spouses, I imagine would be dreadful. And I know some people who have lost their spouses way too young. And that was a real emotional Mount Everest for them. And so I kind of stumbled just through the kind of creative process into the holidays, and it made for wonderful guardrails, because the holidays are a very specific time each year. They're about a month long, and so that was the timeline of the book. It takes place over about a month.
Wow. I mean, but what a great way to kind of truly fall into it or work your way into it and give yourself parameters to play with.
Yeah, absolutely. And the book takes Grace and Henry's Holiday Movie Marathon is right in the title. Each chapter of the book is a different holiday movie, and so my characters, they kind of they bond, they meet, they become friends, and they watch holiday movies together, the classics. And I think that I absolutely love holiday movies. They're just my favorite things. I am a big sentimental baby about them. It's my favorite thing about the holidays. And so I think for the last probably 20 years, the creative part of the writer part of my brain has been scanning the world for this opportunity to write about holiday movies. And so it all came together.
That is one of my favorite parts too. Just the time with family, putting on a movie, whether it's the whole activity or just kind of on in the background while you do other things. Maisha, it looks like you're ready. How did you get into it? Yeah.
It's, no, this one for me, it definitely wasn't planned. It was very different from a lot of my other picture books. The idea was Simon & Schuster's idea. They wanted to make a new holiday series that focused not only on the holiday, but the things that you do leading up to the holiday, like little magic that that goes into the holiday. And I had to audition for it. They wanted to make a rhyming series. So it was a really fun process, but I got the role. It's illustrated by this guy named Tom Knight. He's an amazing illustrator. And It's Almost Time for Christmas book is the second book in the series. So it was a really fun process. I love rhyme. I love the holidays. So it was just right up my alley.
That's so fun. So odd to think you had to audition for your for your book. What a process.
Yeah. When it's not your idea, that's what happens. So
Right.
yeah.
Now, this is the second book in the series. Is
Mhm.
this your second book or
It's my second book. So I'm the author of
for
the
the
series.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
And we have 5 books contracted so far. We have 2 that are out. The first one was It's Almost Time for Halloween, Christmas. And then I have Easter, Thanksgiving. Easter and Thanksgiving come out next year. St. Patrick's Day comes out the following year. So yeah.
Fun. I love my niece and nephew. They're all about a good story time, and I think that's fun, especially when you're like, oh, here's the new installment. Here's the books we get to pull out just for the holiday. Like I feel like I have a basket in storage that works its way out and gets put by the fireplace. Alexandra and Jenny, who's unmuting first? Let's see. Alexandra, go for it.
I'm going. Here I go. I love Christmas so much and always have done. And from about 10, I've wanted to write a non-fiction book about all of Christmas, the history, the traditions, the modern and contemporary rituals, right the way back to pagan and other. And I go on about Christmas a lot. And an editor I knew had read my first few books, which are kind of speculative, high concept books, and loved them, and knew that I loved both Golden Age crime and Christmas, and said, I really want you to write for me a clever Christmas mystery that's set in a locked room in some way. And she said, I don't mind what you do as long as it's got puzzles and your kind of brain working within it. And so she just said, and here you go, I'm commissioning you right now. It was in the middle of the pandemic. I hadn't had any work for ages, and it was a Christmas miracle. And yeah, that's been me ever since.
I love literally and figuratively a Christmas miracle. But how fun to have someone see what you do in a different area and go, you're the one I need to give me the Christmas version of this. Because there is something like deliciously twisted about murder at Christmas time, because it flips everything we've all talked about so far loving,
Yeah.
but doesn't necessarily lose any of the holiday spirit.
That's the ideal, is that you can get this amazing, cozy, warm, nurturing, nourishing full of light and joy, while also acknowledging that this time of year, in half of the world anyway, it's in literal dark. You know, I'm in the
Right.
UK where it is dark now and will be for, until tomorrow at 9 in the morning. Uh, and there is a lot that runs underneath Christmas. There's tension, there's familial darkness and secrets that bubble up through whatever means. The cracks in the surface of society can come through. So actually, I think it both celebrates humanity and shows its dark side.
Absolutely. Well, and also as Matthew explores in his book, the grief that we all kind
Yes.
of have returned to us, even if it is happening at that time or just at that first Christmas without insert many a name here. You're caught with all sorts of feelings. And then Jenny, how about you?
Well, I was a late bloomer, so I'd always wanted to write, and I'd been writing for years and years and years, and I have hundreds of rejections to prove it. And when I hit 39, I thought I'm going to go to uni and study. And I had a career as a baker, so I was working as a baker still. And I thought that I wanted to write sort of ghost stories and maybe murder. And but none of that was working. And then I had a neck injury, which meant that I had to give up my job. So I was unemployed and feeling a bit sorry for myself. And then I thought, oh, I'm just gonna, because I've always loved Christmas rom-coms, and I thought, "Oh, I'm just gonna write a book that I'd really like to give to my mum that she would like to read." So I wrote this book, and then I lent it to my sister and my friend, and they were like, "You need to send this off." I was like, "Really?" So I did, and then lo and behold, after hundreds of rejections, then an agent said to me, "Oh, I think I'd like to represent you," and that is how I became a holiday writer.
So it definitely snuck up on you.
It really did.
The want was there, but it was finding your niche, finding your space. I mean, we all love what we love, and I think that authenticity of, oh, I want to write the book that I want to read, that I want to hand to someone else and go, you need this right now. It's the time for it. It's so fun.
It was a long time coming.
Yeah. And it's welcomed. There's no too late. We always can take that chance and go back to school. We can make a big pivot. If this is the sign you're looking for, dear listener, let it be your sign. Do that thing you were thinking about doing. Make that positive change. Do y'all remember a particular book or film or tradition or memory that first made you fall in love? Like, what makes you think of that holiday magic that took you into this, like, whether it's a one-off or many, you all clearly have something in you that has inspired this journey. There anything that comes to mind right away, whether it's a memory or a tradition?
Just spending time with family in general.
Mm-hmm.
We always hosted Thanksgiving as a child, so everyone would come over our house, just waiting for your cousins to come over, those type of things. We played football on Thanksgiving. I'm not just talking about the kids, I'm talking about 60-year-old aunties. Like, we played, like it was a thing. Um, Staying up super late with my brother on Christmas Eve, because my parents, we didn't have a bedtime on Christmas Eve, but we were not allowed to open any presents until 6 o'clock in the morning. So we would go to our parents at that time. They probably were like asleep for only 2 hours at this point. But then we'd open up the presents. Like, all of those things to me like contribute to the magic, like leading up to the holiday. And
Yeah,
that's what makes these holiday books so special.
I think
absolutely.
exactly the same for me. It's key little moments of pure magic. I was a kid in the 80s, and in the UK where I lived, there was lots of power cuts. So on Christmas Eve, I remember there was a power cut across all of our town, and it was a rural community, sort of on the south coast, Dorset, and so everyone got together and everyone had just frozen things that were just slowly defrosting, and camping stoves that people were lending out, candles everywhere. We went to the biggest house in the cul-de-sac to sing carols round the fire, and they're the only one who had a fire. And that was truly magical. And another time when I was about 9, I really didn't want to go to school. and I really wanted it to snow, so I danced around the Christmas tree. I suppose in just saying I'd really like it to snow, and I must have known because there was a dark grey bruised sky. So somewhere in my mind, I'm going, okay, the snow's coming. Let's herald it. And it started snowing as I was dancing around the Christmas tree. And that moment of that was probably it that made me go, no matter how old I get, there's this little kernel of magic that's there.
Absolutely. Jenny, Matthew, any thoughts on Christmas
Yeah,
magic that
I guess
inspires?
I guess I'll go. Yeah, so for me, it's two movies. I guess I'm just the movie guy
Yeah.
with this book, but Christmas Vacation came out in I think 1989-ish or so, and I was still like mid-teenager then, and I just thought it was the funniest movie I'd ever seen. Just so much joy. And then later on, a couple years later, I can't remember exactly when Love Actually came out, like 2001-ish, shortly after 9/11, I think. But I absolutely love that movie, and it's sort of the big event for me every year because I watch a ton of holiday movies. But Love Actually is the one that I save for, like, okay, the whole family's here, everybody gather around, and there's some awkward moments watching that with your family and parents and grandparents and whatever. But and so consequently, because I love that movie so much, Christmas will always have a Britishy vibe to me for whatever. I'm an American. I live in the United States, obviously, but there is something about that accent, Colin Firth's accent, Hugh Grant's accent, Emma Thompson's accent, that just feels inherently Christmassy to me. So, God bless the UK. You guys did it well.
Oh, absolutely. To have two UK voices in this
Mm.
episode, I'm like, Christmas has been captured. We got them. But I'm with you. I'm with you. Movies there. I always think of Home Alone. That's our big like family. We've got to watch this one all together.
Mhm.
Both of them, if we've got the time. But then there are also movies that aren't holiday, like aren't specifically Christmas movies, but that we always watch around Christmas that still have that vibe. Jenny, how about you?
Well, I think my childhood did feel magical. It was that kind of wake, because I always used to wake up on Christmas Eve, but at like 4 o'clock in the morning on Christmas morning, and and see if he'd been, and he had been, and it was very exciting. And then I'd have to get back in bed, and I was like, oh my God, he's been, and it always felt really magical that Father Christmas had arrived. And then when we were kids, my parents always used to, every week we'd go up to this toy store, and we never bought anything. We didn't have like a lot of money, but my parents, we would always go in there every week, and it was a lovely toy store, and we always had to look around. And it wasn't until years later that I realized that every single week my parents went and put a couple of quid in a pot in the toy store towards Christmas for all us kids, so that we got the things that we wanted. And that just, like, that whole building the magic for your children, like, that just feels wonderful. I love that. And then movie wise, Christmas Vacation also, for me, I make my whole family watch it. But When Harry Met Sally was, as soon as I watched that, I know it's not properly Christmassy, but there is Christmas in it. And Harry Connick Jr. does an amazing soundtrack that just, the second I saw that, when it first came out, obviously all those years ago, I wanted to write something about people. I wanted to write that kind of back and forth, and that just kind of, that the magic of Christmas is in that film, I think, even though it's, a lot of kicking leaves about as well.
That is so special. And right, it's the things we also can look back on when we're older and recognize what has been done for us to have had even an ounce of the magic that we still know is even so much more today. So that's gorgeous. The other thing I love here is that between the four of you, we represent so many genres. It is not just the holidays that bring us together today. You all are in so many different realms. Do you have things that you find are essential to either capturing the spirit of the holiday in your holiday writing, and then things that you also take with you in your other works? Do you find things that part of your writer voice that always carries through?
I really like putting little puzzles in my books. So my Christmas books, starting with the Christmas murder game, they had puzzles that I put in the back and the front saying there are anagrams throughout. I've hidden titles to things throughout these books. Because there's a game in the book all based around inheritance, I wanted to bring that in because I'd actually put secret games into my other books, but hadn't told anyone. So I thought, actually, why not bring the reader in and have some fun with it? And so now I make a big thing of it that, you can play along if you want, but there's always people who really want to find absolutely everything and be the first to do it. And I always get people who read it as soon as it comes out and want to be the first person to DM me saying, I've got it, is it this?
That has to be so fun, though. Like, just talk about good audience engagement where you're like, yeah, tell me what clues you discovered and what answer you figured out.
I think for me, one of the things, all of my books, the previous 5,
Mhm.
I'm always trying to find ways to get people in the same room together who normally aren't in the same room together. So I'm contriving all of these ways to just, have people together and interacting and arguing and fighting.
Yeah.
But that's built right into the holidays. I mean, it's just part of it, right? So people are together from great distances. They come together and they are there and they have to deal with what they have to deal with face to face and together. And that lent itself, that instinct of mine and aesthetic of mine lent itself just perfectly to a holiday book.
I totally see that. How naturally bringing two characters together who shouldn't be in the same room, that works everywhere, but right, it especially works for the holidays.
Yeah, for me being a kid-lit author, we don't specifically writing picture books, I don't have that
Sure.
much space to play around. Like these books are less than 500 words, right? So it's when I'm writing these books, like I said, they were all rhyming picture books. So I deal a lot with poetic language. So even if I'm not writing a rhyming picture book, all of my other books are lyrical as well. So I like really take a lot of time like figuring out which word I'm going to be using. Yeah, 500 words, right?
Right.
And making sure, specifically when you're working on rhyming picture books, the meter is right. So even when I'm not writing these holiday books, I'm always thinking about things like that. So a lot of the
That's
skills transfer over.
that's such a cool challenge to give yourself. That your stamp is lyricism in your writing. That these books for kids are poetry, are music, and that you can guarantee that every time they pick up one of your books.
Right. I mean, it really makes for a better read aloud. And it's funny when you
Mhm.
first start writing rhyme, because you know how you want it to sound, you start writing, the meters all off, and it sounds great until you let somebody else read it. And then you're like, no, no, this this was not my intention. So it's like really important to like study like meter and what is an iamb, what is a trochee, like things like that to really get the rhyme right.
Do you have someone you really trust to do that first read?
I mean, I have been in a rhyming critique group for 6 years, 7 years, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Number one, that exists. Wow. I love learning. There's always something new to learn, but like rhyming critique group, of course. There is a critique group for everyone, but
Yes.
like, whoa, just
Yeah.
hearing that. And then Jenny, do you find anything that colors your books? I know you focus on holiday rom-coms, but
I think it's mostly about the people that it's the Christmas feels like, or the holidays feel like. So my favorite mystery genre is a locked room mystery, and Christmas feels like one big locked room situation because you have got, as Matthew was saying, you've got all these people that are forced together, and I think it's so interesting to examine the relationships of those people because it seems to really shine a spotlight on people's relationships when you're supposed to, there is that expectation that you're all going to be having the most amazing time. And, what if you're not having the most amazing time? And what if you've got, and are you going to pretend? Are you going to kind of like, you're just going to button it so that you don't upset Auntie Vera? Or are you going to kind of address that issue? And I think that's what makes it so interesting because it just feels like a real kind of pressure cooker, and that's a really interesting space to write in, I think.
Yeah, it does give you a very, again, like strict parameters, like we were saying to Matthew earlier, but also just that, like, what piece of tension am I going to dissect in this book? Like, is it about the confrontation or is it about living with not saying something? Like, I think there's so much that you get to play with. And on the conversation of holiday romance, are there some tropes that you love coming back to or ones that you're interested in playing with in new ways?
I love friends to lovers. I think that's probably my favorite one. And another one I like, and I'm not sure what the name of this one is, but where a couple have been together and then they've split up and then they've got back together.
Second
I like
chance
that as well.
romance,
Oh, second chance. Of course it is. I don't know.
right?
Menopause
The,
brain. Sorry.
no, the only reason I can remember it is like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
It's one of those magical times when the very direct answer is actually what it is. Matthew, how about you? You got to play in the like romance with this book, I would say, at least to some degree, or
Yeah,
that people togetherness.
I did. Yeah, I'll take you all on a brief journey. My first
Please.
4 books were not categorized as romance. They were just contemporary fiction. There were romantic elements to them, but they weren't specifically romance. My 5th book, Charm City Rocks, is about 2 people. Will they, won't they get together? Spoiler, they do. But in writing that book, both of those characters in that book are about 40, 41. I can't remember exactly. And when I published that book, all the early reviews called it a later in life romance. And I was floored by that. I'm like, am I later in? I mean, I will accept middle age, but later in life, I mean, and
That's painful. I
and
will
I
interrupt to say that is
it, and
that is
right? I mean, come on.
painful.
And I don't read a ton of romance, to be perfectly frank with you, but the fact that that was called a later in life romance to me sort of presumed that a lot of romances are about beautiful 23-year-olds, right? And I'm like, that's great. I was 23 once and it was a lovely time, but those people haven't lived, damn it. I love the idea of people who are in their late 30s, early 40s, even older, truly later in life romance is the idea that people have gone through these lived experiences, they've been hurt, uh, they're fighting the fight, but still knowing all they know about the world, choosing to try to be together, to give love a shot in the face of just what seems ridiculous after you've been around the bend a couple of times and seeing how badly things can sometimes turn out. But so that's my trope: the later in life / middle age romance.
Hey, we'll take it because right there, that is the missing niche. Everything is, fresh out of college and at the first job, and boss is, 15 years older and has a bunch of money. Or maybe I'm just thinking of 50 Shades. I don't know.
In Christmas Jigsaw Murders, there's a very much later in life romance that begins. My lead character is Edie O'Sullivan, and she's 80, and her next door neighbor is 90, Riga. And it's the story of these are great friends. They solve crossword puzzles together. And it's the realization that you can find romance next door. So friends to lovers when you're 80 and 90.
That's fantastic. Also, sorry if the dog toy squeak picked up the second
I
I
thought I saw it
unmuted.
as a kind of squee of excitement. And
Well, my dog was very excited about, 80s and 90s friends to lovers. But no, I think that's beautiful. I think the idea of later in life romance still pains me calling that at 40. I'm not there yet, but still I don't like the sound of that. But also that like 80s to 90s, like how gorgeous is that? Just the like, oh, there's nothing better than that moment in the story where the end of the Hallmark movie where the cute couple in the center has gotten together and then they're like grandparents from different sides like hold hands and it's like, oh, we found that the second chance kind of later in life. And I think that's beautiful. But Alexandra, also, what brings you to the holidays with murder?
um, well, it does help a locked room mystery when there's snow.
Yeah.
If I
And the
can,
darkness you were mentioning
yes,
earlier, because
yes.
it doesn't get quite, it's awful in the States. I mean, we change our clocks to have a little more daylight during the day, but I'm with you that like sun comes up at 7 a.m. and it's gone by 4:30. So
Yeah, yeah. And I really, really love, I'm a goth at heart. So I do love the darkness. And I love the twinkly lights that you have to put on to keep things going. But that means there's a lot of shadows and a lot of things that can go on in secret. So you can creep around quite easily in a crime novel at Christmas. You can bring the family together in a way that you can pick them off one by one and friends. But also, there's just a lot of inventive ways to kill people at Christmas. Um, so there's a Hercule Poirot story about the Christmas pudding. Um, there's a Nicholas Blake Golden Age story where a body is found in a snowman. It it's got your classic ice, you know.
oh right, melting weapon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and fire. But it's also full of ghost stories and a mythic quality to it that feels somehow that's got something frightening running underneath it. And partly that is the cold and the dark, and we tell each other ghost stories around the fire is something that's happened throughout the years when the world has had its darkness. Um, and so that does seep into my stories as well. There is an underlying interest in the darker side of the human imagination at Christmas.
You can never take the goth out of the goth. There's
I
always going to be
know.
a love for the for the dark. Now, Maisha, what about writing for children during the holidays, especially Christmas, comes with its own kind of magic? Have you had any moments with readers that stand out, or how do you capture everything? I mean, you talked already about the lead up because right, there's so much
Right.
magic in the lead up, but are there any things that stick out to you or jump out?
It's really the lead up for children. A lot of
Ah,
holiday books, they focus on the day. And that is one of the things that make this series super special because a lot of the magic takes place before the day of the holiday, right? Um, when I was thinking about this, like I decorate my tree like a little bit after Thanksgiving typically, but when I was a kid, we used to do it on Christmas Eve. And that tree would be
I
up.
can't imagine. I cannot imagine. I put away things in my house. I don't want it to be up for like a week and a half.
It was horrible. It would be up there like in February, like, but like that is like how it was when I was a kid. But like a lot of the magic is, I mean, decorating the tree and even if it's baking the cookies, it's before Christmas, right? Baking the cookies and then, but all of the things, writing the list for Santa, that happens before the holiday. So for children, like this book is like really like right up the alley because it focuses on the things that we think about when we think about like Christmas magic.
Yeah, there is so much in the lead up. There is everything to do with like the countdown, like what's going to be under the tree. Jenny, your point earlier of like, did he come? Did he arrive? I had many a like secret map in my journals as a kid of, okay, this stair squeaks a little loud. So when we're sneaking downstairs to look, remember that. And yeah, those are the things that stand out.
We look for as a kid, we used to try to look for presents. We found them several times, and then my dad started putting them in the trunk of his car. So we didn't find them after that.
My gosh.
But like that's part of being a kid looking for the presents,
Yep.
right?
Right. Right. You're on the hunt because you just want to like there's so much curiosity and
Mhm.
and inherently magic around all of it. Now, as writers, how do all of you set your scenes? How do you build? I'm sure there is something that's kind of like inherently there for each of you of the like, well, we all have a piece of Christmas in us. We all have a bit of the holiday spirit in us, but you still have to like direct people in the way you want them to go with this. Do you have any ways or anything that you go, oh, this has been my secret?
I'm obsessed with smells. So
Oh yeah.
I love indie perfume companies. And so I've got thousands of 5 ml bottles of of distilled magic in some way. So it's like alchemy of various kinds. So I've got Christmas reindeer smell, and to get myself in the mood, I listen to music. I smell a library of smells, but I always tend to evoke the smell of a place first, and with a visual. And I didn't know I did that until someone said, "I don't know what this smells like. You normally make me know what something smells like." And I went, "Oh, I do." So
And again,
always go in through the nose.
you're again not beating the goth allegations of like, oh, I'm a little alchemist over here. But that makes sense. It's such a powerful reaction. Jenny, how about you?
I think I think because I was a baker and because my whole family bake and our childhood growing up was my mum always making everything, and especially around Christmas. So I think food tends to get into my books. So when I think of Christmas, I think, as Alexandra was saying, it's easier because it's so dark over here. So you can quite quickly become cozy. And then I think it's sort of, yeah, the food and the food smells and the joy of baking and giving other people food, and those are the kinds of things that sort of make season for me. And then I can kind of harness those feelings. But music too. I listen to a lot of music, mostly if it's not the Christmas months. If I'm like writing in the summer, I'll listen to like classical music, but with a Christmas edge to try and, because I'm like, I can't bear to put on my favorite Christmas album yet in July. But equally, I do want something twinkly. So I go for the classical.
I understand that. There are those moments when you're like, I need the spirit, but I also need to not completely lose it officially.
Yeah, setting is, and what Jenny's talking about a little bit too, in which we haven't addressed, is that a novel takes a long time to write. So presumably you're writing this book in July, September, whatever, and you have to find ways to get into that mode. And so I was watching holiday movies in the middle of the summer with my kids. It's like, this is research, kids. Get on board. But consequently, my first draft, my editor's, one of her big comments about it was, it isn't very Christmassy yet. And I was like, oh, of course she was right, because she's always right. And so I had to. It reminded me a little bit of those Shakespearean plays, this sort of school of thought where everyone is wearing a black shirt and there's no setting. It's just a black wall behind them. That's how my first draft was. And it's like, okay, now I have to decorate these people. I have to give them the Christmas sweaters. I have to build the Harry Connick Jr. soundtrack in the back because that's what they're listening to at dinner. And so I had to Christmassy up my first draft, and that took a lot of work. It was something that I had to really focus on setting.
And I would love to pivot there to all of you. How long is your writing process usually? Like, Matthew, how long do you typically work on a book? Because thinking about that, right, it has to feel a little wild to be, even if it's the research and outlining phase or like the kind of drafting process, to be doing that in the middle of the summer. You're heading to the beach and you're thinking about Christmas.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I wrote another book that I wrote. My fourth book takes place over a long weekend at the beach. And, I was working on that in January when it was 25 degrees in Baltimore, Maryland, and for me, it's about a 2-year process, about a year to write the first draft, about a year to edit the first draft to the final stage. So it's about a 2-year process to me. So it's the broken clock was right twice with this one, and I think in those holiday months, I was really all in. That was when I was doing a lot of Christmas decorating in my Microsoft Word document.
I'm always floored by setting because, right, for all of you, no matter, and we'll go back to the length of time in just a second, but right, like, setting is incredibly important in these stories specifically. You have to invoke the spirit of Christmas. Otherwise, right, you are just in that all black room and everyone's in black turtlenecks. Maisha, you were, I think you were going to speak on, like, I'm very interested in how long 500 words takes, because you have to do so much to get your point across in so little.
Right. So my first draft does not take long at all. I was thinking like, oh, they're gonna hate me. And the first draft will take it's a day, right? It doesn't take a long time to write the first draft, but like the key for writing the picture book, specifically like a rhyming picture book, is in the editing and making sure you're picking the right words. So that may take up to a month or less, but it's still nowhere near the amount of time it takes to write anything that's longer form. And like one day, like I would love to write something that long, but I haven't. The longest I've ever written is a chapter book series, right? So, I mean, I honestly don't know how you guys do it. I've been writing picture books for a while right now, and I have a bunch of them. But to get everything into 500 words, it's not 2 years. It's not a year.
But that's still an incredibly different scale. I mean, like that, to also, because you have to captivate an audience that, especially nowadays, is so distractible that you have to find all the right beats. Are you writing in season though? I mean, because of course, even if it takes you a 2 months to package everything up to the final version that's going off to print, it's still not likely to come out for a whole year. Like the gears of publishing still move at the
Right.
pace they move.
So I'm not
So
necessarily writing in season. I mean, we just
yeah,
agreed on which books we were going to write. Like I just had to write them all. It was Halloween, then Christmas, then Easter. Like I just had to write them all at that time. So to get into like the mood for the holiday, definitely music. I'll listen to some Mariah for Christmas. And then the other thing for me is looking at pictures. Because when you're writing Kidlit, you have to put yourself into like the mind of a child. So if I'm looking at pictures from me when I was a child, or looking at even when my children were a little bit younger, my oldest is only 9. I have a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 5-year-old. So it's
you're still
probably,
in the thick of it. Yeah,
yeah, and I'm tired.
I bet.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I get to like hear their conversations and kind of get into their minds, but pictures really help me a lot as well. So I can like look at a picture of, I was looking at a picture the other day of me opening up presents with one of my brothers on Christmas morning. And I'm looking and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I'm definitely going to age myself, but I think it was like an easy bake oven. So, but I really like those kind of things. I can like look at something like that and then just remember like, hey, this is how this felt. So pictures and music all the time, specifically when you're writing in rhyme, I'll listen to rap music just to make sure like I can create something that will be a good for a read aloud.
That makes sense. There's a lot to curating and crafting the vibe. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And I'll age myself too. I'm sure there's a great Christmas picture of me opening a Game Boy Color. There we go. There's the Easter egg for the listeners. How about you two, Jenny and Alexandra? What's your timeline like, and working out of season, and
It's never out of season. It's always Christmas in this house.
yeah, do the
Same.
decorations never come down?
They don't come down till February the 2nd for me, which is a very old pagan tradition where you keep it up until basically Groundhog Day in America. So it's the first glimpse of spring, because then the greenery goes down because you're seeing the greenery again, and so life is returning to the world. So my
Oh, that's
Christmas tree goes up
beautiful.
this
I love that.
weekend and won't go down until beginning of February. But I am writing all year round, so there's always a Christmas decoration somewhere, and it smells of Christmas all year round. I write kids' books as well that are set at Christmas that have just come out in the UK. My first one, Merry Christmas Murders. And so in the last 2 years, I wrote one book, Little Red Death, that's high concept and set at Halloween, and 3 books that are set at Christmas. So basically, I am just this festive being all year round. I'm very confused when I step outside, and it's 28 degrees in the UK, or
Yeah, warm in
yes,
Fahrenheit.
yes, warm. Well, yeah, and it's not dark, or so that confuses me. I may have slightly meant that I'm no longer functioning well. However, I can be really happy.
That's fun though, to get to play in multiple holidays that you love, and then not know when you are. I figured that has to be part of being an author, no matter what, is like never really knowing
Yeah.
when it is,
Yeah.
other than one day you wake up and you go, "Oh, it's pub day." Like it's the like
Oh.
it could be any hour of any day, and then except for the one day where there's a book releasing.
Yes, and then you go, "Oh," all leading up to that, and it feels very strange. And then you go back indoors again, and go, "Okay,
Back into the
this is where
cave,
I'm comfortable, thank you."
back into the book mines.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It feels quite intense because at the moment I'm writing a book a year, um, so I hand in my uh, first draft of my manuscript in November, and then that comes back to me just before Christmas, and then it's rewrites, edits, all that kind of stuff, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until sort of May time, and then in between times I'm kind of trying to think of like an outline for the next book, and then because by the end of May, it's like, and on your marks, get set, go, and then I have to full on start write the book because it's going to be due in November. So it feels like, yeah, I'm always working.
Always working. I don't know. A book. All of your deadlines sound insane to me. I don't think I could. I don't have that in me. Especially not living out a season. I'd be a wreck. I mean, Alexandra, I am with you. The tree will very likely go up this weekend for me as well. But it does come down like for me, my cutoff is like take off the end of the year. I love to have a Christmas break for myself. But once the PTO is about to end, it's the like, well, I don't want to be sad and working as I pack all of this back up and put it away. So my last day off is usually, okay, let's put the boxes away and be and have a moment of sadness. But that's like early January. Do any of you have an absolutely favorite tradition that you have put into one of your books from your personal life? Or on the flip side, instead, is there something that you always think back to that will never belong to your audience, that's always going to just stay like as a memory or a love to yourself? You don't have to answer both, either one. If that's one of those where I'm like, I'm sure it'll stand out one way or another. Of like, Matthew, if you end up writing a second Christmas book, just putting it out there. If another one happens, is there something that you go, oh well, that's my favorite memory, but that has to belong to my kids, or
I think to answer the second part of your question, nothing is off limits. Because
you've
I
given it
just,
up to the craft.
it just, if the book needs it, the book needs it. But for me, especially as you get older, you learn more about different families do it a little bit differently, right? And I was raised Catholic, and we would go to midnight mass, and that was staying up late and kind of exciting, but then also sort of being bored at mass, and then coming home and seeing the tree. And then as we got older, my brother and I being actively drunk at midnight mass. Those sort of traditions are great, but I love Christmas Eve was Christmas for us. We would open all the presents. And then the morning was just about making a big breakfast, especially I'm talking about as we got older, when we stopped, stopped believing. But yeah, so Christmas Eve was the big show for my family.
That is what I love about the sharing, is that, right, everyone does it differently. Also raised Catholic, but we always went to the early Christmas Eve because Christmas morning was that was the big day. But oof, I also have those memories of go from Christmas Eve party at uncle's house, too many drinks, and then mom going, "Can I convince you to come to Christmas Eve mass with me?" I'm like, "Well, you knew I drank tonight, so yeah." But trying to stay awake through too
Yeah.
long a homily.
Who among us hasn't slowly almost passed out at midnight mass as a Catholic? That's part of Catholicism, That's what we do.
I think that's like the secret sacrament that they don't tell you about. Trying to stay awake.
I wrote a short story for an anthology called The Midnight Mass Murderer. So watch out at midnight mass.
And I love it. And I love it.
One of my most favorite things to do is White Elephant. It didn't make the book, but I don't. Does everyone here play, or has anyone done it before? Like
Yeah.
it's like a gift exchange.
But they're always usually like a little bit campy or a little bit goofy. It's always silly. It's never like a where you draw a name. Like, you know, I know for us sometimes as we started getting older, we would choose like, oh, we'd put aunts and uncles in that we'd have an age cutoff of like, we no longer buy gifts for all of the nieces and nephews. The older ones do a thing, but that was a serious gift exchange. Whereas, right, like White Elephant is the
Super unserious.
super unserious.
It's super unserious, and you get to, if there's something you don't like, you basically like steal somebody else's gift who got it before. So it's really fun. Often involves alcohol as well. That didn't go in the book.
Well, I'm sure that you could always just say the extra blush on mom and dad's cheeks in the photo
Right.
is the alcohol showing up.
Right.
No, there is something magical about those different traditions and the ways that they show up. But now I want to look at the future. What's next for all of you? Do you have what kind of holiday stories do you want to work on next, or books you want to work on next, projects? So this is kind of the moment to promote what you might be working on or what you can talk about, share with the people, let them know what to be excited about.
So like I already mentioned, we have Easter coming out, Thanksgiving and St. Patrick's Day. Those are the three that are not out yet. Hopefully some more in the future. But it's almost time for a series. And then I also have a new chapter book series coming out with Simon and Schuster as well. At the first book is at the beginning of the year. I think it's January 6th. And it is like a cross between, I don't know, Amelia Bedelia and like Clementine or like a Junie B. Jones. It's a riot. It's funny. The first book, so Amelia Bedelia, because the girl takes everything literally. And in the first book, the girl hears her grandfather saying that her grandmother put her foot in a lasagna. And if you can imagine the craziness that ensues because of that one statement, it's I feel like it's a riot. So she has her best friends live across the street, or her best friend and her worst enemy across the street, and they're all trying to find toes in the lasagna. It's a mess.
Oh, that's brilliant. There's the gift guide right there. Oh, Alexandra, I see you're ready to go.
I'm ready to go. My next book out in the US is Little Red Death, which is a high concept thriller that has a lead detective with a kind of haunted, sad past where there's a series of murders that seem to be based around fairy tales, and the killer is nicknamed by the press the Grim Ripper. And as she starts to investigate these strange and grisly murders, she finds it's more connected to her than she could possibly have imagined, and that her life isn't anything that she thought it
Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong with that. I know the trail you're trying to lead me down, and I'm signed up for the tour.
It's fairy tales. There's lots of sort of metafictional stuff going on. ADHD detective like me. I'm not a detective.
Perfect.
Could be a detective. I reckon I could.
Put those skills to use.
Yeah,
If you can write it, you can solve it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really fun, but a bit of a mind explosion. So go in there prepared. And my next Christmas mystery, which I hope will also be out in the US, is The Christmas Cracker Killer in the UK. But I don't know if we called that in the US because I don't think you have crackers at Christmas.
We have gotten them as of they're now sold in like our retail stores around the holidays because of like the proliferation of Doctor Who and Harry Potter. Like I think that's the like Christmas cracker reference, but mainly Doctor Who.
Oh,
You now can like walk into a World Market or a Target and get some for
Frank
get
David
some for
Tennant, The
Christmas.
Christmas Invasion, then.
Well, that's if I would be lying if I didn't say I had a box to open while we watched that.
Excellent.
Oh, Jenny, how about you?
My next book will be a Christmas book, so there's a surprise for everybody. But it's set in a department store, and there's a night guard called Cece, and she finds a woman in the store who shouldn't be there, and it's the spirit of Christmas present who is hiding from the world because she has decided that she hates all humans and they're not worth saving, and she's really jaded. and she's just going to kick back and cause trouble in the store for the entire holiday. And it's kind of those two sort of hashing it out, because Casey's not that keen on Christmas either, but she likes humankind a little bit more than Margot, the spirit of Christmas present. And yeah, so it's slightly bananas, but it was a lot of fun to write.
But who doesn't want slightly bananas? I know I'm sold. And Matthew, how about you?
I'm off the holiday train for a bit for this next one.
Of course.
Getting back to Christmas crackers. In the section, my favorite section of our grocery store has all the British stuff because I'm a complete Anglophile. Hobnob's digestive biscuits are the greatest things in the world. Oh my goodness! They mark them up so much here. So my Hobnob budget is slowly sinking my family. But on to my next book. But last year, my wife and I went on a trip to the Galapagos Islands, like a National Geographic cruise. And I didn't go there seeking out a book or anything, but I saw these two people, these fellow passengers, and the dynamic that they had. Right when I saw them and got what was going on, I realized I had to write a Galapagos book. So I was like, I guess I'm going to the Galapagos. So now I'm researching blue-footed boobies and sea lions, and so I'm putting a Baltimorean on a ship in the Galapagos.
And now you can write off that trip.
That's right. Yeah, no kidding. Are you kidding?
Oh no, that's fantastic. I think that it's so cool when it just kind of sneaks up on you yet again. Like it's that, oh well, here came the inspiration. You gotta be out there doing things. Well, before I let you all go, I'm gonna welcome you all to unmute. We're gonna do a holiday lightning round, just a little this or that. So the first thought that comes to your mind, shout it out. Hot cocoa, coffee, or mulled wine?
Coffee.
Wine.
Mulled wine, absolutely.
Hot chocolate with booze in it.
Oh
I
yeah,
like
all
that
that.
answer. Yeah, that works. Real tree or artificial?
Both.
Yeah, real. If my grown-up children are coming home and they're bringing my grandcats, because I have grandcats, not grandchildren, then we have the artificial tree up. If they are not bringing the grandcats, then we have a real tree.
That's a fun way to do it.
An artificial tree that looks real.
That's a good one. We have real for us, the picking it out and taking our daughters and tying it to the top of the car and all that's a big part of Christmas for us. So definitely real.
Oh, you get the whole thing there.
Yep.
Let's see. Do you have a favorite festive treat or snack?
Mince pies every time.
Mince pies and gingerbread.
Those little cookies where they push the Hershey's Kiss into it.
them.
And, those are the great. I gain 20 pounds every December.
Yeah. And eggnog for me, with maybe something in it, maybe something not.
Hey, we keep the bottles popped open and ready to splash. And then let's see. A snow day activity of choice. If you have nothing to do, it's Christmas, you're lazing about, it's chilly, you're staying in today. What's the dream? What's the dream activity?
I love shoveling our driveway because the kids will come out with me and they'll sort of like build a snowman, or the dogs will chase the shovel as I'm going. But we have a sort of a weirdly big driveway. So when it significantly snows in Maryland here, which it does maybe once or twice a year, I put on the hat and break out the shovel, and I get to work.
I was going to say, that is said by someone who doesn't get it. I'm in Cleveland, so we've got snow like you wouldn't believe here in the winter. So I'm like, favorite activity is shoveling the driveway. I might have a heart attack. But that makes sense. Yeah. Put the Baltimore in there and pieces that out.
Maybe just sitting back and watching a movie with the kids and husband.
Yeah.
I've got a 6-year-old, and I took her to see. They do Polar Express experiences here with steam trains. I assume they do sort of all around the world. And we went there on Sunday, and it was so magical for her. And they dance and hand out hot chocolates. And so I think watching Polar Express with hot chocolate and a fire and the little ticket they gave to her, and she was the only kid in the carriage who got "Believe" punched into her ticket.
Oh,
Yeah, we've got that on the wall now.
that's so magical. We have a train near us, and the same thing. Christmas comes around, and they have the Polar Express experience. It's so magical.
This is like the saddest thing ever, but like my favorite thing for a snow day or a really cold day when you can't go out is to have Poirot on the telly, and then I chop up all my foodie magazines into, I curate my recipes and then stick them in a scrapbook. So I have my Pritt stick and my scissors,
Mm.
and I sit there and I just have beautiful scrapbooks then of all my recipes. And I realize that's not terribly exciting, but it brings me
I
deep
love that.
joy.
I was going to say, that's not sad even a little bit. That to me is now a new idea of something I can do.
Love that so much.
Well, thank you all so much for being with me today and sharing a bit of the holiday magic. Of course, to the listeners, you can find everyone's books and socials and everywhere where you can find all of our wonderful guests today linked in the episode description. But Alexandra, Jenny, Maisha, and Matthew, thank you so much for being here.
Thank
Thank
you. This was a
you.
Thanks for
pleasure.
having us.
And now we'll head into our next segment. Hey friends, Joe here taking a quick break from the conversation with a cozy little mid-roll moment. This season of Book Lounge by Libby has been an absolute joy to create, and it means the world to me that you've spent time with us every week. Now, as always, thank you for listening to Book Lounge by Libby, and hey, don't forget to take our end of the year survey. It helps me shape what you hear on the show in 2026 and beyond. I truly want to know what you love, what you'd love to see in the future, and all that good stuff. So the link is in the show notes, or you can go to pages.libbylife.com/BL-links. And speaking of things to love, I wanted to give a few quick holiday romance recs from our friends over at Kensington Books. First, what happens when a Scrooge-like boss and a determined young woman have to work together during the holidays? Find out in Sierra Donovan's Do Not Open Till Christmas. We follow Brett Radner, who once dreamed of being an expose writing Pulitzer winner, but heart-tugging circumstances kept him at the Tall Pine Gazette, where he meets the too pretty rookie reporter to train, Chloe Davenport, a once waitress at the Pine and Dine and freelance reporter who is now having to prove herself to her handsome boss. He turns down all holiday-themed stories and is a certified Grinch, yet the closer they work together, the more Chloe realizes that his tough exterior conceals a hidden hurt. Then from New York Times bestselling author Fern Michaels is The Christmas Stocking. Amy Barron is determined to raise money for a new senior center by harvesting Christmas trees from the small-town Virginia farm she remembers from her childhood. Trouble is, Gus Moss has his own ideas about saving the farm his father neglected. Neither wants to give up, but when attraction turns to romance, they just might have to give in. And what if we wrapped up this rec list with an Amish holiday romance? Would anyone mind? From the Matchmakers of Huckleberry Hill series by Jennifer Beckstrand, this is First Christmas on Huckleberry Hill. If you haven't read any of the books in the series before, this is actually book 10, but it's the origin story of Anna and Felty Helmuth, so you could always do that, read in time order versus series order. Before they were the irrepressible 80-somethings that are Wisconsin's most beloved matchmakers, they were mismatched young lovers facing seemingly impossible obstacles. Anna reaches out to the ostracized Felty, who seems to be the only one who ever understood her. Watch as this beloved couple works to find their way into their own perfect match. So those titles were Do Not Open Till Christmas, The Christmas Stocking, and First Christmas on Huckleberry Hill. You can check out all of those now in Libby from our friends at Kensington Books. All right, now back to the show. And again, don't forget to take the Book Lounge survey. Thank you for listening, for reading, and for being part of this amazing community. We truly couldn't do it without you. Well, hey everyone, welcome to our book recommendations section of Book Lounge by Libby. We are wrapping up season 2, episode 10 with some holiday recs for y'all. I am, of course, joined by some of my favorite people. You know them, you love them. We've got Cece, we've got Jananie, we've got Meara. Hi, everyone.
Howdy, how's it going?
Hi. Hello.
Oh, what a dream. What a treat. I'm decked out for the holidays where we're getting to talk about like some of the campiest books around because I think I bring up camp a lot, but I don't think there is anything campier than holiday rom-coms because the titles, the covers, everything about them, to me, that's pure camp. But before we dive in, I want to give y'all the lightning round that I did in the first segment because I just want to set us off in the mood. So you can all unmute, just pop out with the first answer that comes to mind for this. Uh, Hot cocoa, coffee, or mulled wine?
Mulled wine.
Hot
Coffee.
cocoa.
I love everything's represented. Real tree or artificial?
Artificial.
Artificial.
Real?
Okay.
I'm scared of house fires.
Well, you're not putting candles on them. Like,
Yeah, but if they dry out, they're just too much of a risk.
fair. I mean, I'm bald, but there's enough hairspray in this house to still start a small fire. Uh, do you have a favorite holiday song or album that you go to?
I think it's just the Christmas song by Nat King Cole.
Oh, yeah,
So like nostalgic and soothing to me.
absolutely. That's the like chestnuts roasting on an open fire, right?
Yeah, just classic.
I love the It's a Wonderful Christmas Time because it's in the like opening sequence of the like claymation Rudolph, like the newer claymation Rudolph, and that is like one of my all-time favorite Christmas movies.
Okay.
I don't know that I have one, but I always put on like the Ariana Grande holiday album because it's just like vibey and nice for like background music. So that's
I
mine.
agree with that. There is something oddly vibey about that album that like it hits all the correct story beats of Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
but it has that updated feel. Like sometimes I walk into the season wondering like what of these songs is gonna stick, gonna join the canon, and it always feels like nothing ever does. But I think like Ariana's done that. One of my favorites, Kelly Clarkson's Underneath the Tree. I love that one.
Also, Pentatonix really slaps at Christmas time,
The only acceptable time for a cappella.
I have to say.
No, they really do slap at Christmas time. Do you have a favorite festive treat or snack?
The Little Debbie
Mm.
Christmas tree cakes. Whenever I go home, if those are in season, my dad will go, "There's a treat for you in the pantry," and it's always those, and they're very sweet.
That's so cute.
So cute.
I
Mine
had one for
are
lunch.
ginger molasses cookies. I make gluten-free ones that are like really tasty. I like learned how to
Ooh.
make them a few years back, and now I make them every year.
Can I have that
And then I
recipe?
eat. I can send it to you.
I was gonna say, I'm like,
Absolutely.
I need that recipe.
Yeah, I always bring it to like family gatherings over the holidays, and then I have to bring like multiple Tupperware containers, and then like everyone just goes through them all. So
Mm.
yeah.
A good problem to have.
I feel like I grew up with my grandma making a lot of like Christmas candies and Christmas cookies. And now that's
Mhm.
become like the cousin's job. So I think just cookies and fudge and like those mint chocolate layered like are they mint
Well, like
chocolate.
like the Andes mints, the little
Yes, they're
thin.
like
Yeah.
my grandma used to make like her own Andes mints and that was just
Oh
like
wow.
the best.
That's so fun, especially since there's like a memory and tradition tied into that. I love that. And then go to holiday movie or TV special. We're a Home Alone family over here. So
So I hated Home Alone growing up because I was always scared my parents would actually do that to me. So that just shows you my fears in life. But
oh,
anyways,
valid. Valid.
I'm like not a big holiday person. Like probably The Nightmare Before Christmas is probably my go-to Christmas movie.
Fair.
But my dad is a big Hallmark movie guy. Like he has it on all year round. And if the A Christmas Spirit is playing, I will sit down and watch that one because I
Okay.
love that one.
Mm.
Love even more that
Yeah,
it's
I
a
think
Hallmark movie.
yeah. No, I'm definitely bringing up Hallmark movies later as a holiday thing, so perfect. I feel like Elf was always my favorite growing up, but now I can't get through a holiday season without Die Hard. So,
Ooh,
And that's the way to do it.
yeah.
I don't think I have one.
And
Though I've
that's
If
never
I
okay.
seen Die Hard, so maybe I should watch it.
Yeah,
if I
right.
could throw in an atypical Christmas movie, my mom's favorite Christmas movie is Iron Man 3.
Oh, I can see that.
That's such a good pick, honestly.
I can see that.
So my dad watches Hallmark and my mom watches Iron Man 3.
And
Love it.
and we love that. I mean, I said in the top half of this episode that like there are movies that I want to watch around Christmas time that aren't holiday movies because we always would put them if we were having like a family movie night kind of thing, especially when I was younger. So like the Robin Williams Jumanji and Freaky Friday, those kind of things are things that either they were released on, well, in the case of Freaky Friday, released on DVD right around in time for Christmas. So got it and then watched it. And then we watched it every year. So there's like normal movies that don't even have Christmas scenes that are on my list.
Okay, wait. Christmas episode of a show, the
Sure.
Community Christmas episode where Annie does her little baby dance. I feel like I watch that every year.
Yes.
Oh,
That is on
we love
repeat in
it.
this apartment as well.
I think for me, it's probably when Sabrina has to regain the spirit of Christmas, and so she has to deliver presents. So
Mm,
I am who I am. That said, since we set a little bit of the holiday mood, now let's give everyone some books to go with. So, who wants to go first? What's on your list? Take us through it. Cece, I'm volunteering you.
It's perfect. You know what? Since I was saying I'm going to bring up Hallmark movies, that's what we're going to do right now. Because I totally have to agree that like December feels like Hallmark Christmas to me because it's such a tradition and it's so nostalgic. And they're silly and they're over the top, but I find them like so comforting in their predictability and they just warm your heart. So I want to talk about a book that I think captures all of that. Plus, this book has girls kissing, so it feels like it combines all my favorite things. So the first one I want to talk about is Make My Wish Come True. This is by Rachel Lippincott and Allison Derrick. And it is a YA contemporary romance about this teen actress. Her name is Arden James. And she's developed this like messy reputation that's keeping her from getting her dream job. So her and her publicist have whipped up this story that is a tiny bit true, but mostly not at all. That Arden is actually this super authentic person. She's from this small town and she has been dating her childhood best friend for years, and she can prove it all this holiday season when she goes home for the holidays. And then we get the other side of the story about an aspiring journalist named Caroline who lives in this super Christmas obsessed small town in Pennsylvania. And she has spent the last few years trying to forget her ex best friend, Arden, after she ghosted Caroline and their entire town to go and be famous. So she's pretty peeved when Arden shows up and asks if she would be her fake girlfriend for the holidays. In fact, I think the first thing she does is she pushes Arden into a snowdrift. So we're starting high. But this is like a home for the holidays story. It's about trying to repair, a broken relationship. We've got a lovable Korean grandmother and karaoke nights. And there are so many Christmas traditions. It's like almost sickening, but it's the perfect amount. And amongst all of this, Caroline is also trying to kind of carve out a space for herself and for her family to celebrate Hanukkah in this incredibly Christmas obsessed town. So this is heartwarming and sweet and funny. And in case you don't already know, it was written by real life wives. These two authors are married to one another, and that is even more adorable. So check this out if you would also like to celebrate the season sapphically.
Make the Yuletide gay. I love it. That's truly such a joy. Like, Hallmark Christmas is unreal. And I've been seeing a lot of TikToks lately that are like from the POV of the person who got dumped for the protagonist in the Christmas movie. Like, oh yeah, so you two have been together for 3 years? Yeah, yep. And she left you for a man that she's been dating for 3 weeks. Yeah, that's how it went. So something about this that like this is the time where I feel like so many of us are fully able to suspend any and all disbelief to go, like I said, completely camp in the Hallmark realm. Who wants to go next? I'll just keep picking. Jananie, you lost the nose goes.
Damn it. My first pick is actually a recent release and a book that I recently read as well. And it's A Little Holiday Fling by Farah Heron. This author is Canadian. She's from Toronto. And the book is like Christmas in Toronto, like a love letter to Christmas in Toronto, which is actually quite nice. We have like a little Christmas market in downtown Toronto, and like there's just all these little holiday Christmas traditions that like happen during December that I feel like this book just like captured in a really beautiful way. But essentially, it follows our main character who has lost her mother, and she and her mother had this like dream of opening this small little like B&B or Holiday Inn in the English countryside because they were both obsessed with like, you know, Victorian literature and like, you know, beautiful country homes in England. And so she's like been saving up. She works at like one of these fancy department stores during the holidays. And she's like ready to move basically soon from Toronto to England. And then she meets the love interest, who is this guy that she bumps into when she's trying to carry home her very pink Christmas tree and hasn't figured out how she's going to get it home. And so accidentally hits him. And then he's like, "What are you doing?" And he's a bit of a grouchy Grinch type guy during the holidays. He's also British. And I think he works in BC or somewhere else in Canada, and then he's back in Toronto to see his sister anyways, but he's in town and he's like, "Why is it so Christmassy here? Like this is too much." And then he is also annoyed with the main character at the beginning when she whacks him with her tree, and then he helps her take the tree home. And so that's their little meet cute at the beginning of the book, and then it turns out that like she knows him through a friend of our friend, like this whole situation, and that his family also owns a hotel business in England, and that they might be the connections she needs for her potential Holiday Inn when she moves. So yeah, it's like a really nice setup. It has so much, you know, Christmas in Toronto vibes, but then there's also, I don't want to spoil things, but it does like change locations at one point, and so that was also nice. And yeah, I just loved like all the side characters too, but it was very much perfect for the holidays.
It sounds so cozy. And
Very.
now I just not only really want to read it, but I also really want to head to Toronto and
Yeah,
go to a
please come.
Christmas market. Like, how fun
Literally,
does that?
I remember in high school and like university, the like prime date, like, you know, idea was
Activity, yeah.
taking someone to the Christmas market because it's just so cute. It's so cozy. There's so many lights and like little vendors and all these different shops and restaurants. And it's like this little like Christmas village in like the corner of the city. So it's
I
amazing.
mean, it absolutely would have worked on me. That still sounds like my prime date market. Okay, Mira, I can go or you can go. Up to you.
I'll go. But I should warn you that I did not go cozy at all with my recommendation.
And
One thing
that's
about me,
okay. That's the challenge I put out there. Like, I even in the notes it says you could go. Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
exactly. And I love a little Christmas time winter romance, but I also love when shit's weird and when we take winter holiday season weird. And I went in the weird direction. So my first one is a book that I read, I want to say 3, 4 years ago, and I still think about it a lot. I actually discovered it on Libby because one day I was just scrolling through and I was like, what's available right now in Christmassy? Actually, that's how I found both of the books I'm recommending. Um, but this one is The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand. This is a YA reimagining of A Christmas Carol. Seems like everyone here is familiar with it. And it was just such a unique take on A Christmas Carol, which I really loved about it. So our main character is this bratty teenager, Holly Chase, who she was a Scrooge one year in that the three ghosts visited her. But she did not get saved. She did not wake up and see that she has to change her life. And so she ended up dying. But instead of just moving on to the afterlife, she is now working for Project Scrooge, which is the like organization that sends the three spirits to the Scrooge each year. And so in this season, this year's Scrooge is an attractive teenage boy. So she starts crushing on the Scrooge beyond just doing her usual work. And it just is that perfect like YA kind of like sentimental adventure story. In the like book description, they recommend it for readers of Before I Fall or Dash and Lily's Book of Dares, which are great comparisons. Also books that I loved. I loved those in high school. I loved this one as an adult. So if you're looking for something that's like a little bit more of like a traditional Christmas tale, but with a unique spin, almost like the Santa Claus. Like if you think about the Santa Claus movies and how they're like a classic but different, the same vibe there.
Okay, I love The Afterlife of Holly Chase. Like that used to be my number one Christmas rec for years. And it's just such a fun book. Like she's just such a funny and, interesting character. And like the way that the world is set up is also very cool.
She's like literally a brat. And I feel like we so rarely get books where the main character is like, Jesus Christ, as they're like doing stuff.
It's also like to your point, more on the traditional sense of things with the like Charles Dickens of it all, that somewhere along the line, that is where we so equally split from the Brits, where they still like save a lot of their horror tales for Christmas time, like when the nights are long and it's super dark. We've like subscribed all of that to Halloween here, but they in the like longest night of the year of it all still, I mean, I know it's like in the Christmas songs and whatnot, but
I, as a spooky girl, subscribe to spooky Christmas. Like winter is dark and eerie, and it is when historically people die and there's ghosts, and like it's not romantic. I don't want cuddles. I want spooky.
well, us here in our like safety consumerist society ruled by Hallmark of the season definitely go for the like, oh, well, you should have someone to cozy up to and stay warm while it's cold. Where instead, like you said, people are dying. It's dark. It's awful.
Well, I was gonna say, like, as a Doctor Who girl, the Christmas specials are like always like horrifying. But that's
Truly.
British. And that goes back to your point of like the British American cultural divide.
British Christmas crackers. Here we go. Well, I split my picks between a little bit spooky and a little bit lovely. And since we did a lot of lovely first, I'll stick with that. This is Season of Love by Helena Greer. Because again, make the Yuletides gay. Uh, it's just like it was listed as an Entertainment Weekly Best Holiday Romance of 2022. It's got like accolade after accolade. It's super cute and fun. It follows Miriam Blum, who has no choice but to face the past she thought she left behind when she inherits her great aunt's Christmas tree farm in a witty, glittering, heart-filled rom-com with all of the warm, queer Jewish holiday vibes you could possibly want. Thanks to her thriving art career, Miriam finally has her decoupaged glitter ducks in a row until devastating news forces her to a very unwanted family reunion. Her beloved great aunt Cass has passed away and left Miriam part owner of Kerrigan's, her, ironically, Jewish run Christmas tree farm. But Miriam's plans to sit Shiva, avoid her parents, then put Kerrigan's into her rearview mirror are spoiled when she learns the business is at risk of going under. To have any chance at turning things around, she'll need to work with the farm's grumpy manager, as long as their attraction sparking between them doesn't set all the trees on fire first. And that is none other than Noelle Northwood, who wants Miriam gone, even if her ingenious ideas and sensitive soul keep showing Noelle there's more to Cass's niece than meets the eye. But saving Kerrigan's requires trust, love, and risking it all for the chance to make their wildest dreams come true. Wanted to hit the like, there's a lot of holidays going on in winter, and but also like the camp of like a Jewish family owned Christmas tree farm honestly just makes some like that's the movie I want to see. Like this makes so much sense. And of course, some sapphic love. Everything about this, like the death bringing. I also liked the fact that it wasn't like a will she get better, and it was just kind of like, yeah, it was a will and it was a death, and so the stakes are a little more on the normal side of books rather than on the holiday side of books. So yeah, that's my first pick.
I love that. I also think that there's something to be said for, we haven't had access to holiday rom-coms that aren't straight or white for a lot of years. That has been very much
Too many.
the space. So having multiple queer rom-coms to be able to pick from, being able to have a more diverse range of stories around this time of year is like such a thing to celebrate because we didn't always have it. And
For real.
Seasons of Love has the most beautiful pink cover as well. It does just like lift my heart up when I see it.
It
Well,
really is a beautiful cover that just kind of makes me go like, oh,
not to jump, but I also wanted to have a little bit of both. So I've talked about my more happy book, and now I have something more on the horror side that is also for the holidays. So I want to talk about Christmas and Other Horrors. This is a winter solstice anthology edited by Ellen Datlow. And this is an anthology of 18 stories that explore the endless terrors of winter solstice traditions across the globe. And it is from some truly incredible names in horror, like a couple that stand out to me that I've seen a ton: Christopher Golden, Stephen Graham Jones, Alma Katsu, Tananarive Due. Garth Nix has a story in here, which I think is wild. So the stories all vary in length, and every single one of them concludes with like a paragraph or so from the authors explaining more about the inspiration for the story and some of the winter traditions that kind of they found themselves drawn to. And this this anthology includes so many different monsters and traditions and places, and some of them are winter stories, most of them are winter stories, but there are also like some Christmas stories that are set at the height of an Australian summer. So it really introduces you to a lot of different things. Um, One of my favorite creatures is introduced in the first story. It's Christopher Golden's story called The Importance of a Tidy Home. And I'm going to go for it here. I believe that this monster is the Austrian Schnabelperchen. We had a lot of fun in my apartment learning how to say Schnabelperchen. Um, but these are creatures that appear the night before Epiphany to check and see if your house is clean and tidy. And I do not want to tell you what happens if they find a mess. So I have always had a huge love for folklore, and there are so many different celebrations and traditions that happen at this time of year. So I really love that this collection digs into a ton of things that we don't usually hear about.
oh, Cece, I love, like, I am such a sucker for folklore as well. This is right on the money for me. I cannot wait to pick this up. I also love anthologies pretty generally, but especially in winter, because I feel like there's something nice about like breezing through or ripping through stories really fast and getting a taste for a lot. Or maybe also just with folklore, it's nice to get a little bit of everything and choose which ones you're like, oh, I want to dive deeper into that.
Can I make a hot take? I think that a lot of the time, the shorter something like a horror is, the scarier it is. Like, I think that horror
Yes.
anthologies can be a lot scarier than like a novel or something because just the space that it leaves you to fill in. That's why two sentence horror stories are so horrifying. Is it's like you have to fill the rest in, and nothing is scarier than the unknown. And so I love a horror anthology.
Oh, totally. We're left to like think and catastrophize and fill in all of these blanks we didn't know we had or wanted to fill in just because we're kind of left to our own devices. Oof. Well, Jananie, I'm coming back to you
Okay.
now.
Yes, I guess it's me. So I also chose something a little bit on the spookier, murderous side of things, for my second pick. So I picked The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Ali Carter. This book is so freaking fun. I picked it up, I think, last winter or the winter before, whenever it came out. And I just had such a great time with it. Like it was, I just had it with me for like a week during like the holidays, and I was just like picking it up and having a great time. It essentially follows these two rival writers, mystery writers, who are under the same publisher. And the main character, Maggie, has like split up with her partner. Like she's having a rough time. She's having a rough holidays. And, she's always thought that the male love interest, Ethan, has kind of gotten things really easy. And during the holidays, they both get informed that they will get to spend Christmas with Maggie's idol mystery writer, who's kind of like an Agatha Christie-esque character. And she's got this like English manor home in the countryside, but like it's winter, so there's like a ton of snow. And so they're kind of like in the middle of nowhere, and stranded at this house when the author that owns this house goes missing, seemingly out of nowhere on Christmas Eve. And so they are forced to figure out what is happening. Has she been murdered? What happened? And Maggie and Ethan are also kind of falling in love at the same time. And it was like the perfect combination of like cozy Christmas vibes, but like sad, and then also murder plot and mystery, and then the cute little romance. So it was like such a lovely little mix, and I just loved like the character development with Maggie, and like her becoming a little bit more confident with herself, and like being sure of her ability to solve the mystery, which was like really satisfying. So yeah, that would be my pick. It was just like so fun.
This is one of the rare books where something like takes off on Book Talk and then you read it and you're like, oh, that actually was good.
Yes. Yeah.
So real though. You're so right, Meara. Usually sometimes when it blows up on Book Talk, you open it and you go,
I'm like,
huh.
that was an industry plant.
I don't know. I
Not this
wouldn't
one.
blame
This
the
one was good.
I wouldn't blame the industry for that. But this one, it blew up for all the right reasons. It's that balance. You get everything. I think it's great because we all kind of have our niches that we sing really well together, but it doesn't always fit for some of the certain seasons. So I think having so many interests and kind of niches packed in makes for a compelling story for everyone.
Also, that one has one of my favorite tropes. And like I don't know how to say it without it being like a spoiler, but it's like a take on the romance trope where it's not adversaries to lovers because there's a little bit more to it. And that's just one of my favorite things. It makes me so happy when it happens. All right, I'll tell you about my book. My next book is insane. It is one where I just like needed an audiobook to listen to, and it was December, and I just scrolled through Libby until I found one that was available right away. It is called The Christmas Murder Game. Um, and when I tell you, I sat in the car in the dark for 30 minutes on like 3x to finish this book because I was like, I need to know how this ends. And like I was at my friend's house and they're like, I can see you in your car. And I was like, don't worry about me. I'll be out in a second. Um, so it's our main character's named Lily. And she has this like big family estate home. It's called Endgame Home. And she like never wanted to go back because her mother died there 21 years ago. But her aunt invites her and all of her cousins to come back to the house to redo this tradition that they did when they were children called the Christmas game. So she hides like 12 clues and 12 keys around. She used to hide presents around the house and then they had to find them. But this one specifically, she had 12 clues, 12 keys. They have 12 days. The prize is they get the deed to the house. So all of the cousins go and they're all competing. And Lily doesn't want the house, but it also will reveal who killed her mother. So she has other stakes for winning the game. And so they're all stuck in this house together for 12 days and people are slowly dying and things are happening. And it's just like, what is happening? So we're not just like competing for our game, we're competing for our lives at this point. And they have to survive until 12th night. So it's actually a really great listen from like, it's not a pre-Christmas listen, it's like a Christmas to 12th night listen. which is January 5th, for those of you that are not familiar with specifically Mardi Gras traditions, because that's where that really stands out to me. Um, it's just, it was so weird. And it's so fun and so weird. And the resolution, I have never recovered. I've simply never recovered from this book.
You've got all of us cackling. I can also attest that the author is an absolute delight, and listeners of this episode can, because Alexandra's in the first half. It is it's just so much fun, and I know, surprise, this is how you all see that I don't tell them who's going to be in the rest of the episode that they're in. She's so fun. She is spooky like us. She's like a goth baddie, and it's Christmas all year round. And when she's not writing like Christmas murder, she's writing like horror Halloween murder. So, you know, well, I guess I'll bring my last pick here. This is You Better Watch Out by James S. Murray and Darren Wehrmouth. This one came out last October from internationally best-selling authors James S. Murray, better known as Murr on the hit TV show Impractical Jokers, and Darren Wehrmouth comes You Better Watch Out, a suspenseful serial killer thriller that leaves you wondering, is Christmas really the most wonderful time of the year? 48 hours until Christmas, Jessica Kane wakes up with blurred vision, ears ringing, and an excruciating pain. A gash in her head and blood running down her face, the last thing she remembers is going for a run, and then something hit her head. It doesn't take long to realize she's trapped in an unknown, deserted town with 5 other strangers who share similar stories of being attacked and stranded there. Unsure why or how they got there, she knows one thing for certain: she has to find a way out. That becomes nearly impossible when someone is meticulously orchestrating their deaths, one by one, and the only thing Jessica can do is watch the life leave their eyes. The fenced-in town is the killer's very own playground, and there's nowhere left to hide. She better watch out, because she could be next.
I'm in. I'm sold. I'm sold.
It's like Christmas time Saw movie is kind of the vibe.
That's what I want. That's all I'm ever looking for.
Well, Meara, have I got a book for you? Well, thank you all for joining me today.
Oh my God. This is a fun one. I like how this topic was like so open that we could bring in
Yes.
stuff from like so many different directions.
This was the easiest prompt I gave y'all all season. Do whatever you want with this one. Just vaguely Christmas. Is there anything y'all are looking forward to doing? I mean, shocker to everyone listening, but we're recording this at the end of November, middle to end of November. So we're just beginning the Christmas holiday winter season. But y'all have anything exciting planned? Or anything you love to do that like makes you go, this was a successful one?
Here's the crazy thing is my birthday is in early January. So by the time we're looking at
Oh.
Christmas, I'm just thinking about myself and my birthday.
Love that.
I'm like, Christmas, no, my birthday.
Well, that makes you make more sense too. I'm like, you don't like, you're not a big like Christmas girly for a lot of reasons. You're like, no, it's my
Exactly.
birthday season. Thank you.
Exactly. I am looking forward to the fact that it's going to be cold outside, so I can have a lot of gumbo. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Okay, fair.
That
I'm never
sounds
looking forward to it being cold out.
Yeah. Wait, but how cold does it get where you are?
I'm in Chicago, so it gets cold.
Okay, it gets
Yeah.
Yeah.
it gets a little
You're like-
cold.
In Louisiana, the cold window is like 3 weeks.
Mhm.
But that was
And,
one of the
and
best
like
parts.
40 degrees.
Yeah. I've worn shorts on my birthday before and on Christmas. But now that I'm here, I'm like, oh my God, gumbo season's like 4 months long. It's great.
Yeah, and I'm in Cleveland, so I have the Toronto experience
Yeah.
for winter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's already snowed here.
Same.
Yeah,
I had
so-
snow on my birthday, which wild red.
Fared from it so far in Washington, but I'm going back to Utah for Christmas, so I'm going to be right in the Rocky Mountains. It has already been snowing there plenty. I've heard.
So you get to have a snowy season.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be a white winter.
Definitely.
I will say I am looking forward to. I like to take off the days between Christmas and New Year's and just like lock myself in a room and read books, or like sit on the couch while my
Yeah.
family naps and read books. And that's usually when I get like my last big push of the year. And I'm very excited about that.
Same. I'm a habitual give yourself Christmas break taker. So my out of office will be set from like December 22nd until the first full week of January. So,
Oh, that's fantastic.
oh,
My
yeah.
hot take is that everyone should have that week off. But
Thank you.
Yes.
Let them
Yes,
hear you.
Honestly.
Let them hear you.
I've worked at places that both like close the office for that week and then places that don't. And yeah.
I mean, I don't have to cover all of that with PTO. There's 4 like holiday days in there, I should
Yeah.
say. Very happy with that. But I would love if they said, you know what? You don't have to take it off yourself anymore. Here it is.
Yeah.
We as a society need to agree that for the careers that are not literally keeping people alive,
Yes.
who needs to be sending emails those days?
Correct. I'm not a doctor.
Truly.
Let my email
Exactly.
sleep.
Yeah.
Let Outlook take a
Yep.
break. Well, thank you all for joining us. Now we're headed to me, definitely confirmed this time in a different outfit, doing the outro. And that is a wrap on Book Lounge by Libby, Season 2. And what a year it's been. What a season it's been. So much thanks to all of our incredible guests for these past 10 episodes, and our guests from this whole year with Season 1 and Season 2. A huge thank you especially to our guests from today's episode, Episode 10, Jenny Bayliss, Maisha Oso, Matthew Norman, and Alexandra Benedict. Thank you, of course, to our incredible guest hosts who week after week have joined me to be my book recommending compatriots. Of course, Amy Ellen Clark, Bree, Carmen, Cece, Jananie, Kayla, Meara, and Kevin. I am thankful to all of you joining me this season and this year, and I cannot wait for next year for us to dive into even more books to recommend. And of course, who would I be without all of you? Thank you to you, our listeners and watchers, for making this show part of your reading life. Every download, every stream, every message and email and comment, every shared moment over a good book has meant so much to me, and I am so grateful to you all. Now, we are taking a short break between seasons, but don't worry, I have plenty of episodes that will be dropping through the end of the year. And then starting in January, we'll go into that 1 to 3 episodes per month cadence until Season 3 premieres in April. So again, remember, January, February, March, each of those will have 1 to 3 episodes per month to keep you company until Season 3 premieres in April. In the meantime, make sure you're subscribed to Book Lounge by Libby wherever you get your podcasts, and make sure you're following the Libby App YouTube channel so you don't miss a thing. You can also follow along on social, and you can send me a note anytime by sending an email to bookloungebyLibby@overdrive.com. I truly love hearing from you. From all of us here at Overdrive and Libby, and especially from me here at Book Lounge, thank you for listening, for reading, and for being a part of this incredible book-loving community. Wishing you warmth, joy, and plenty of cozy reads this holiday season. Happy reading! You can sample and borrow the books from today's episode in the Libby app, or if you're a librarian, find them for purchase in Overdrive Marketplace. Book Lounge by Libby is a proud Evergreen Podcast signature program. Explore more amazing shows at evergreenpodcasts.com. This podcast is produced and recorded by me, Joe Skelly, with editing by Andrew Alonzo. Our theme music is High Five by Rex Banner, used with permission. Book Lounge by Libby is presented by the Libby app. Learn more at libbylife.com/booklounge.